A hallmark of working an Intarsia knitting pattern is knowing how to estimate your tail length for a given section of color of your pattern. So on this very basic swatch here, it's just a square swatch of navy with another square inside of it in this cream color. So to estimate the length of tail you would need to work just this cream color section, you need to do just a teensy little bit of math. So I'm going to grab some graph paper here and pretend to draw the chart that would form the pattern to work this square within a square Intarsia pattern, okay? So to do this, we're going to, I know that this is 7 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches, and 9 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we know that for this cream color section, we're going to need enough yarn for 7 stitches by 9 rows. And 9 times 7 is 63. So that means there's 63 total stitches that will be required to make this little rectangle of cream colored yarn. So to estimate our Intarsia tail length, we're going to do something that's pretty similar to what I like doing for estimating my tail length for a long tail cast on, and that is this. We're going to hold our yarn against the needle, the same size needle we're going to be using for knitting our pattern. We're going to hold the tail against our needle and wrap it around the needle 10 times. Not too tight, not too loose, just honest wraps around our knitting needle. And then we pinch off our yarn, and right here, this length of yarn between my fingers represents how much yarn it would take to work 10 stitches in theory, all right? But there's a couple other considerations we have to keep in mind. This tail length works well, but we need to make sure that we have enough extra yarn for a tail at the beginning and end of our square of Intarsia. And also this is not an exact science. You might use a little bit more yarn per stitch than this 10 stitch tail accommodates. So for me, for example, I have done a variety of Intarsia knitting projects, and sometimes I find that tails that are exactly 1 wrap equals 1 stitch works great, but then other times I find that I need to multiply this length by I need to add another 25% to the length, or even up to 50% for the length. So what you need to do is try out this tail estimation trick with 1 wrap equaling 1 stitch. Give it a go with a practice swatch, not unlike this one, to see if with your yarn and your needle and your own personal tension, this wrapping scenario works. So this length equals 10 stitches, and now we need to just do like this. So there was 10, folding it over makes 20. So there's about 65 worth. And now is the point where we need to add another 4 to 6 inches per end. So let's just shoot for an additional 10 inches or so of tail for calculating how long we need our yarn to be to work that Intarsia square. So once we know that length, we can cut our yarn and then form our bobbins.